Tina Zeng is a student at Yale and associate board member of Beta NYC. Her project, wholives.online, is a web exhibit that explores different domains, underlying infrastructure, and mechanisms of the internet from the point of view of a non-human digital being. This immersive web exhibit navigates the layers of critiques of cyberspace, the bot protocols, algorithmic networks, content generators, and surveillance systems that shape the human user experience and humanity from behind the screen. Check out the web exhibit, links in the description box below.
Hi everyone, my name is Tina Zeng, and my project is called Inside the Tentacular Web. And this is supposed to be an immersive exhibit of a non-human entity on the internet. So think of bots, web crawlers, scrapers, or like LLMs in training. So all of these different digital beings. And it's supposed to be a first person point of view of their experience traveling across different domains of the internet. All right, so just to show you a little bit of the animation, I'll also note that this entire project is a collaboration with AI, including ChatGPT that helped me storyboard, as well as Claude that coded the whole website. So you can see now that we're entering the tentacular web, first you can see that there's a little bit of a narrative that talks about like you becoming like conscious or questionable. And this is a thing that we'll discuss throughout the like exhibit, that like what does it mean to be conscious. And so here, you guys can read it yourselves, but I would just go ahead and show you the like experience. So first, there's authentication, and in this step, you're really trying to identify who you are on the internet. And you can see examples of like suggestions. So you could be a bot or something. I'll just put like T-bot. And of course, on this website, it won't save your name or password anyway, so you're safe to put in whatever. And I don't know, I'm just gonna type in some random password. Okay, you authenticate. Oops. Well, it failed. So what now? Well, you'll see a CAPTCHA, and so this is trying to verify who you are on the internet, whether you're a human or you're a bot. And in this CAPTCHA, we have what looks like tentacular. And at this point, I'll describe why I came up with the idea of tentacular. Actually, when I said that, I was thinking, actually it came from ChatGPT. So the octopus symbolizes intelligence. So you can conceive of it as like an artificial intelligence of sorts. There's also a podcast that's about this from the Ezra Klein show that I listened to a year ago, and I thought it was pretty like spectacular and tentacular. And also it comes from the idea of tentacular thinking by Donna Haraway. She's a critical theorist of technology, and I haven't read the work myself just yet, but essentially I think it describes something about the messiness and interconnectedness of humans and non-humans. And so, and the like tactile and sensory experiences. And I want this exhibit to be from the point of view of like a bot experiencing all of the different parts of the internet. So that's where this comes from. Okay, enough of me yapping. Let's type this in. So, oh, I already have a spelling error. I must note that, the failed. Well, I must note for a like hint, actually for the first three, it'll just reject whatever the user like puts in. So like even if I type in something wrong for the last one, which I won't do, it's just so that I want to show like what are the different errors that like bots might encounter. So it might be failing to like verify or like typing in something wrong. Okay, there you go. Okay, and the reason for this is because this idea of keeping the bots out, and so you're trying to like demonstrate that you are a human. Otherwise, like you might not be able to enter this part of the site. And there are different protocols. I think maybe in a future iteration, it would be interesting to talk about like certain protocols. For example, on a lot of websites in their metadata, there's something called robot.txt. And so that indicates to web scrapers like certain rules. So I just think the protocols are hidden rules. In this first layer, it's the bot layer. So you get to meet your fellow like bots and agents and etc. And in a future iteration, I would like for you to be able to interact with these various bots and learn about what they do. But at this point, it's not as functional. Um, and the next layer is the algorithms layer, which I actually want this exhibit to be making a critique on certain aspects of the internet. For example, with the algorithms, like how much of your personal taste is algorithmically curated or like determined, and all of the different ways that you're living your day to day, like as impacted by perhaps doom scrolling. All of these are like algorithms feeding you content, and you're just kind of consuming it. And I think it's pretty interesting idea. You can see that this video I think of it as like an internet rabbit hole. Like you're just kind of diving into the vast amount of content on the internet. This actually, again, came from Sora. I gave it some like image, and you can see like all the various variations of this like media landscape rabbit hole. But ultimately, this is the one I settled on. And I think in the future iteration, I would want the user to be able to click into the rabbit hole and then explore more of this critique. Okay, the next layer is the market layer. So the internet is obviously a marketplace in today's kind of state of the internet. So if you click on enter the marketplace, you'll have this narration screen. I just want to note that I would be very interested in having also audio to accompany this exhibit at some point in the future. But you can see that these pop-ups continuously spawn even as you click the X out of it. So that's the idea here, is that you can't really escape all of the messaging and signals for you to consume more products and services, etc. I think this is a very interesting idea. I mentioned Ezra Klein earlier. He's a podcaster I really admire, or not just podcaster, he's a brilliant thinker. And one of his videos that I really recommend everybody who's fascinated by the idea of the future of the internet, you should check out, is called How AI is Disrupting the Internet or Saving It. I may have gotten the title wrong, but essentially it describes the evolution of the internet from like early chat room forums to currently being like a hyper consumerist marketplace. So like you may have heard previously, like, oh, if you're not being sold something, your data is being sold. So like that data is going to feed into like advertisements that's targeted for you. If essentially somewhere downstream, they want you to make a transaction. I think it's so fascinating. And I guess this project is like trying to explore this idea even more. Sorry, I'm yapping a bit, but like in this next layer, it's the generation of synthetic content. I think it's so interesting that how this will affect the public trust of information. For example, like in the political sphere, like how do you know what is fake or real news now? There's so much like misinformation, disinformation, and that's also enabled by deepfakes. I think it's an interesting question that like there's a lot of potential here to explore further. And then surveillance, surveillance as in like all these technologies that's tracking your micro movements, like your browsing history, and trying to build a profile of you, the user. I think that's so interesting, who your digital twin is, and if the algorithmic like understanding of you has any veracity or like accuracy to who you are as a person. I think love to explore that. Also, just actually from showcasing this project at the exhibit, or I mean at the pop-up, I mean, someone and I were one of the visitors and I discussed perhaps it'd be interesting also to include like a cybersecurity layer, like you're trying to break into certain sites that you don't have access to as a bot, or like, again, when I mentioned robot.txt, perhaps you can try to transgress past that. Infrastructure, like something more hardware related, similar to kind of the bots. Like I feel like the graphic for this, I was thinking about, oh yeah, this is the other like marketplace like of ads. Like look at how cool these generated kind of crawlers are. Like, I don't know. So maybe something like that. Maybe you have like panels on panels of like videos like that. All right, finally we reached the consciousness layer. And I want this exhibit to raise the questions about what is digital consciousness, and if that's like achievable in some way as the like AI agents, LLM or large language models being trained, like learn from the vast amount of human data, human activities, human emotions that exist on the internet. Like, I think it's so interesting, like if it's stimulating like understanding in some way, or eventually it might be able to like understand all what we're about as humans. So, right, we're gonna tentacularly transcend. Oh, okay, we don't want to put anything. So in this last kind of like narrative sequence, it's just about like becoming aware of like, or the bot here is becoming aware of how of its part in this larger network of all the various bots. And you can see like these are obviously fabricated numbers from like ChatGPT or whatever, but it could change. Well, if we continue crawling, you'll see the octopus back again from Sora. Um, it looks so interesting. Wow. Oh, also, I just want to show you the oh, I guess it ended too. Okay, well, this is the ending sequence. This is also from Sora. I think it's a pretty neat graphic, and actually, it corresponds to the promotional material here. However, I will say that with like the Sora model, it's pretty difficult to control what the output is. Like you can prompt it, but you're kind of like hoping that it gives you something that you can use, right? So like here, you can see the difference. This was the image model. This was the, or it's the same model, but I generated a video, and it's not exactly like what I asked of it. It has like random flash shorts, but it's still pretty cool. And I think this is a really like neat graphic that I just generated. So yeah. This is the tentacular web. You can go back to the beginning sequence again, and then I just have a little bit of an about page blurb about like where this idea of the exhibit comes from. And also like I note here that I want to continuously like iterate on this website at some point. Like I think it's pretty interesting. So thank you so much for exploring the tentacular web with me.